The attic was dusty and dim, sunlight filtering through cracks in the wooden boards. The air was thick with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories, creating an atmosphere that was both eerie and nostalgic. Sarah carefully navigated through her grandmother's belongings, each step stirring up small clouds of dust that danced in the beams of light. She felt a mix of excitement and melancholy, knowing that each item she touched held a piece of her family's history. Old furniture, forgotten toys, and trunks filled with memories filled the space. Each object seemed to whisper stories of the past, tales of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. She stopped at a small wooden chest tucked away in a corner. It was almost hidden, as if it had been deliberately placed there to be forgotten. It was ornately carved, its surface worn smooth with time. The intricate designs told of a craftsmanship long lost to the ages, each curve and line a testament to the hands that had shaped it.
Wow, look at this. This chest must have been very special to someone.
Sarah knelt down, her fingers tracing the intricate designs. She could almost feel the history emanating from the wood, a silent witness to countless moments long past. She lifted the lid, the hinges creaking in protest. The sound echoed through the attic, a reminder of how long it had been since the chest was last opened. Inside, nestled amongst yellowed lace and faded photographs, lay a letter. The sight of it made Sarah's heart skip a beat. The envelope was thick and creamy, the ink a deep, vibrant blue. It stood out against the other items, almost as if it was waiting to be found. It was addressed in a flowing script to a Mr. Edward Thompson. The name was unfamiliar to Sarah, adding to the mystery. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she noticed the date, July 7th, 1995. What could this letter possibly contain?
Who is Edward Thompson? And why did grandmother keep this letter hidden away?
The attic seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation. It was as if the very walls were waiting for the secrets to be unveiled. Sarah carefully picked up the letter, her fingers tracing the faded ink. She could feel the weight of the words inside, heavy with untold stories. It was unopened, the edges slightly curled with time. The seal was still intact, a barrier to the secrets within. A strange energy seemed to pulsate from the envelope, whispering forgotten secrets. It was as if the letter itself was alive, eager to share its story. She turned the letter over and over in her hands, her heart pounding with a mixture of curiosity and trepidation. What could be so important that it remained hidden all these years?
Why had grandmother never sent this letter? What secrets did it hold that were too precious or too painful to share?
Sarah sat on the edge of the attic stairs, the letter resting on her lap. The attic was dimly lit, filled with the scent of old wood and forgotten memories. Dust particles danced in the beams of sunlight that filtered through the small window, casting an ethereal glow around her. The name Edward Thompson echoed in her mind, reverberating through the silence of the attic. She traced the letters with her finger, feeling a strange connection to this unknown man. It was a name she had never heard before, yet it felt strangely familiar. It was as if the name had been whispered to her in a dream, a fragment of a story she had yet to uncover.
Edward Thompson, who are you? She whispered, her voice barely audible, as if speaking too loudly might break the spell.
Her grandmother had rarely spoken about her past, her life before Sarah's grandfather a mystery. The old family photo album held only a few clues, with many pages left blank or filled with nameless faces. Had this man been a part of that hidden history? Was he a lost love, a forgotten friend, or perhaps a relative whose story had been buried with time? A wave of determination washed over Sarah. She had to find out. The answers were out there, waiting to be discovered, and she felt a newfound resolve to uncover the truth.
I need to know more, she said to herself, her voice filled with a mix of curiosity and resolve.
She carefully placed the letter in her bag, her mind racing with possibilities. Each scenario seemed more intriguing than the last, and she couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement. The attic, once a place of forgotten memories, now felt charged with a sense of urgency. It was as if the very walls were urging her to uncover the secrets they held. Sarah knew she couldn't rest until she uncovered the story behind the letter, and the man it was intended for. The mystery had ignited a fire within her, one that she knew wouldn't be extinguished until she had answers. Her heart whispered that this was more than just a forgotten piece of mail. It was a connection to a past she never knew existed, a link to her grandmother's hidden heart. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Sarah felt ready to embrace it, driven by the whispers of a name and the promise of untold stories. The afternoon sun cast long shadows as Sarah walked down Main Street. The town was quiet, the air filled with the scent of freshly cut grass and blooming lilacs. She reached the post office, a small brick building with white trim. The postmaster, a kindly woman with silver hair and twinkling eyes, listened intently as Sarah explained her quest.
Edward Thompson. Now that name rings a bell.
The postmaster tapped a finger against her chin, her brow furrowed in thought.
He lived on Oakwood Drive. Handsome man he was. Used to come in here every day, rain or shine, waiting for his mail.
Sarah's heart skipped a beat.
Did he ever mention my grandmother, Evelyn Rose?
Evelyn. Why, Edward was smitten with her.
The postmaster's words unlocked a floodgate of memories. Sarah learned about the summer her grandmother, young and vibrant, had captivated the town with her laughter and grace. Edward, a charming newcomer, had been instantly smitten. They spent their days lost in conversation, strolling hand in hand through the park, their laughter echoing through the warm summer air.
They were inseparable, those two.
They wrote each other letters, pouring their hearts out onto the page. Their words, filled with longing and promises, painted a picture of a love both passionate and profound. Sarah listened, mesmerized, as the postmaster wove a tapestry of her grandmother's hidden past. For the first time, Sarah saw a glimpse of the woman behind the loving eyes and gentle smile. She saw a woman who had loved deeply and passionately, a woman who had kept a secret close to her heart for all these years.
I never knew grandmother had such a story.
The past, it seemed, was just beginning to reveal its secrets. Fueled by the postmaster's stories and her own growing determination, Sarah set off to find Oakwood Drive. The street was lined with stately oak trees, their branches forming a verdant canopy overhead.
I couldn't believe how beautiful it was. The address the postmaster gave me led to this charming cottage with a wraparound porch and a garden bursting with colorful blooms. My heart was pounding in my chest as I stood there.
An older woman with kind eyes and a warm smile answered her knock. Sarah explained her mission, her voice trembling with a mixture of hope and apprehension.
Edward's not here, dear. He moved into Meadowbrook Nursing Home a few years back.
Disappointment washed over Sarah, but it was quickly replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. She had come so far, she couldn't give up now. Meadowbrook Nursing Home was a stately brick building surrounded by manicured lawns and colorful flower beds. Sarah approached the reception desk, her heart pounding with a mixture of nerves and anticipation. She inquired about Edward Thompson, her fingers nervously twisting the old letter in her hands.
Excuse me, I'm looking for Edward Thompson.
A nurse with a warm smile led her down a hallway filled with the scent of antiseptic and freshly brewed coffee. She stopped at a room at the end of the hall, sunlight streaming through the window.
Mr. Thompson has been rather down lately. Perhaps you can cheer him up.
Sarah took a deep breath and stepped inside. In a bed by the window sat an elderly man, his hair as white as snow, his eyes gazing out at the world with a mixture of sadness and longing. Edward Thompson looked up as Sarah approached. His blue eyes, though clouded with age, still held a spark of their former vibrancy. Sarah introduced herself, explaining that she had found a letter addressed to him amongst her grandmother's belongings.
Mr. Thompson, I found this letter addressed to you among my grandmother's things.
His hand trembled slightly as he reached out to take the letter, his fingers tracing the faded ink with a tenderness that spoke volumes.
Evelyn, I haven't heard that name in years.
He held the letter close to his heart, his eyes closed as if in prayer. For a moment, the room was filled with a palpable silence, broken only by the ticking of the clock on the wall and the gentle rustling of the curtains in the breeze. Sarah watched, her heart aching with a mixture of sadness and hope, as the elderly man finally broke the seal and began to read. The words spilled from the page, filling the room with the echoes of a love story long past. Evelyn's letter was a heartfelt confession, each word imbued with a depth of emotion that transcended time.
She wrote of our summer together, our laughter echoing through the warm summer air, our stolen kisses under the moonlight.
She wrote of her dreams, her fears, and her unwavering love for him. She apologized for leaving so suddenly, explaining that circumstances had forced her hand. Sarah listened, mesmerized, as Edward's voice, filled with a mixture of joy and sorrow, breathed life into her grandmother's words. Tears streamed down his face, tracing paths through the wrinkles etched by time. He read every word slowly, savoring each syllable as if it were a precious jewel. When he finished reading, a profound silence descended upon the room. The weight of the words hung in the air, almost tangible, as if the very walls were absorbing the emotions contained within the letter. Edward gently folded the letter, his hands trembling slightly. Each crease in the paper seemed to echo the lines of his own life, filled with moments of joy, sorrow, and everything in between. He looked up at Sarah, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. The unspoken words between them were a testament to the deep connection they shared, a bond that had been forged over years of shared experiences.
Thank you. Your words have touched my heart in ways I can't even begin to describe. This letter, it means more to me than you can possibly know. It's a bridge to the past, a connection to the love that once was and still is.
Sarah placed her hand over his, a silent understanding flowing between them. In that simple gesture, they found solace and a shared sense of peace. In that moment, she realized that love never truly fades away. It lingers in the corners of our hearts, waiting to be rekindled by a memory, a touch, or a word. It may change shape. It may be buried beneath layers of time and circumstance, but it remains a beacon in the darkness, a testament to the enduring power of the human heart. Love is resilient, capable of withstanding the harshest of storms. As she left the nursing home that evening, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Sarah felt a warmth in her heart that she hadn't felt in years. Sarah carried with her a newfound appreciation for the enduring nature of love. She understood now that love's true essence is its ability to endure, to persist through time and trials. Her grandmother's letter had not only reunited two souls separated by time and circumstance, it had also reminded her of the timeless nature of love. It had also opened her heart to the possibility of a love that could withstand the test of time. A love that, despite the odds, could remain as strong and vibrant as ever.